Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and our Simple Abundance here with Sarah Von Bronick's book, Simple Abundance. It is September 15th. How is your September going? Remember in the September Joyful Simplicities, Sarah encouraged us to go out and just like you would if you were doing school shopping, to go to the paper stores and maybe get some new embellishments for your desk or your workspace. Have you guys done anything like that? I'm coming to you from my desk right now, and it's appropriate because today's topic is a combination of two of her entries that she's had this month. One called Job, Career, or Calling, and the other one called Working from the Heart. And I have an office kitty here too in the background. That's my kitty Annabelle. We talked a little bit recently in that scrambled or fried entry about work and how even in the Garden of Eden there was work before there was sin, right? So we can't blame anything on sin as far as us working for our money, right? It is kind of a interesting way that we live, though, to get a paycheck. And I've shared with you guys before that I've done a lot of things in my life. And in some cases, I've felt very much like what I'm doing is a calling, and that I've always felt most exhilarated when I'm positively affecting other people's lives in some way. So I think that's one plus about the channel, because even though my business, which was offering me a lot of that, is now gone, I have the channel and I can still reach whoever watches my channel, people that find it on YouTube, and just inspire you, hopefully through Sarah's words and my little musings that I add in. But anyway, I have done things in my life where I felt very much like it wasn't even work, because it just felt like this is what I'm so meant to be doing. And then there have been other times that I've had just a job, right? I can't even say that I've ever really had a career, like listening to that job, career, or calling. Like I never worked in the same industry for what would be considered a career. I think our parents' generation, that's what they did. They just got a job and they stuck with it. I've just had jobs and I've done a lot of different things, but I've also had a couple of businesses as well. And I do feel more fulfilled when I'm working for myself on every level, for sure. And I like the freedom of being able to be in charge of my schedule and not feeling like there's a slave master that's mapped out my day, right? But I was just gonna say that I've shared this before, that even in jobs that weren't necessarily changing the world or anything, I still found happiness in my life. You know, it was like, as long as I felt like I could go in and have a nice daily existence and be around nice people and not be miserable, then it was a means to getting a paycheck, which then afforded me the opportunity to live in the way I wanted. And then I made the rest of my life more enriching. Like I did hobbies and social activities and all the things that I'm struggling right now to somehow figure out how the next year is going to be at all interesting because I know we're kind of in for like another year of the way it's been now. So I've sat down recently, and I'll probably do another video on that. I've been sitting down and asking myself some questions in my journal about how I'm going to fulfill some of the things in my life. Like, how am I going to have a social life? I've been sort of living as like, maybe this is going to be over soon, but I don't think it is. So anyway, I'll do another video on some of the thoughts that I'm coming up with, and I'm doing a little bit of research to see how I can make the next year a little more interesting. And I'd love to come up with an idea that would allow me to continue the channel in some way as well. That's on my list because it has just been so meaningful for me. I don't see myself doing the book again Maybe I do another book, or I don't know. Maybe I just come on every so often and talk about things that are related. I haven't figured that out, but it would be great to find a way to still have this outlet, because it really is a nice way to connect with people. So anyway, back to the topic of job, career, or calling. What do you think when you think of that? Do you think of, I've only just had jobs and I have this calling, but I've never been able to make it my work? I think there can be a lot of blocks to believing that what you want to do to help people is going to bring an income, right? I can understand that. So these are Sarah's words. There is a significant difference among a job, a career, and a calling. Jobs are what we do to keep bodies, souls, and families together. But as the Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Studs Terkel wisely pointed out in his oral history, working people talk about what they do all day and how they feel about it. That's the name of the book. The search for daily meaning is as important as daily bread, and the recognition as necessary as cash. For when we work, we are searching, quote, for a sort of life rather than a Monday through Friday sort of dying. Oh, that's so depressing. A career can be a calling, but not necessarily. Usually a career occurs when you stick to an occupational path. Sometimes careers resemble long-standing marriages in which passion is exchanged for comfort, security, and predictability in an uncertain world. Of course, there's nothing wrong with this choice for many, as it is absolutely the right one, although some may wonder what psychic price is being exacted for playing it safe. It is certainly true that every day we don't strive to live authentically, live authentically, we do pay a price with compounded interest. Many of us eventually move from jobs to careers, but often we hesitate to answer an authentic calling, especially in midlife, because we're torn between the financial realities of a mortgage and debt, between raising children and caring for aging parents, between a proven track record and the unknown, between a regular paycheck and the uncertainty, between circumstances and a creative choice. I'm wondering, she hasn't really said anything about the calling, but, well, she is saying something about it, that if you just sort of stick in a job or a career and you don't listen to the authentic longing within you, if you do have a calling, then she doesn't qualify it, but she does say that there can be a price. Yeah, and I mean, if you feel like that first sentence about like the Monday through Friday dying is like, if you feel like your job is just this soul-sucking experience, we spend so much time working. Why not try to carve out something else? But she's right. Taking that leap is very difficult, especially, she mentioned all the things like having a family, having a mortgage. It's like you can't just run off and join the circus like we talked about in that other entry. So I can understand that torment within, and trying to make it feel right. Let's see what she says about, in today's entry, about working from the heart, because that to me would be answering the call, right? And there's a quote from Khalil Gibran, who said, "Work is love made visible." We'd all like that, right? Most of us do not consider our work a personal form of worship. Work is worldly. Worship is withdrawing from the world to honor spirit. But could there be a more beautiful way to honor the great Creator than by contributing to the recreation of the world through our gifts? Yeah, like if you actually can somehow, this is me speaking, if you could actually somehow carve out a way that your work is your calling, then that would be the ultimate in worship and devotion to the great Creator, right? This is what we're called to do each day through our work. Yet it is very difficult to get even a glimmer of the holy when we're harassed, unpredicated, overwhelmed, frazzled, and burned out. We've talked about Marianne Williamson before. Here she is again. Marianne Williamson believes that the workplace is, quote, but a front for a temple, a healing place where people can be lifted above the insanity of a frightened world. Once when she was working as a cocktail waitress, years before she answered her calling to become a spiritual guide and writer, she realized that people only thought they were coming to a bar for a drink. Really, the bar was a church to diagnose, and she could minister to people with warmth, conversation, and compassion. See, that's interesting. Like, if she felt this calling to be a spiritual leader or a guide or like a listening ear, then she was actually fulfilling that by being a bartender, right? So it's not like you have to go out and do something different. You could answer the call in a different way. No matter what we do, we can make it our ministry, she writes in her illuminating book, A Return to Love. Excuse me. Oh, I just swallowed wrong. It's easier to imagine that our work could be our worship if we could perceive the sacred in how we spend at least 8 hours of the day. Perhaps the secret to coming to this awareness, no matter what our present circumstances, is to discover the work we would love to do. This sounds like a self-reflective activity, right? I lost my place. If you have a job, even one you dislike, it's a safety net as you take a leap of faith forward towards your authenticity. If you're out of work, the path already has been cleared for you to answer your authentic calling. That's a thought. There are a lot of people out of work right now. So that could be a time for recreating and answering the call. When you work, you fulfill a part of Earth's fondest dream assigned to you when that dream is born. Fulfilling your part of the Earth's fondest dream occurs when you work from the heart. What do you guys think about this? I think this is a battle between the ego and the heart, because it's hard to believe that if you just follow your bliss, like we talked about in another video, that the money's gonna come. There are a lot of quotes to that effect, though. It's like the money just comes when you're aligned and you are doing something like that. But you have to believe that. And if you let fear stop you and you just do the practical, realistic thing, then I like how she says that you can, like, your current job is a safety net, and you can sort of be like figuring it out, carving out your plans. And maybe it starts as a hobby, and maybe it just starts, like she said, you have to figure out what you would love to do. I personally don't really know what I would love to do. I mean, I have some like crazy ideas when I think about, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I would just love to own a nature center with trails and like places for people to watch birds and all these things. But some of those things just feel like I don't know how I would ever do them, you know? So they're just dreams. But she did tie that in with if you're working from the heart, then it is like your dream coming true. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't give up on those dreams. It's good to have dreams. I couldn't even dream earlier this year. So the fact that I actually added a page to my journal when something would come to my mind of like, oh, I would love to do that. Even if it was completely outlandish, I've still just been listening at least. And I think that's a part of figuring out what you would love to do for 8 hours out of the day. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. And I'd love to hear your comments on this and whether you feel like you have this calling inside of you that like is making your current job just feel totally unsatisfying? And are you working towards maybe following the call? And can you think about ways that you can work from the heart in what you're currently doing? Like, I like that analogy of the bartender. And it was a great platform for her later because she already was doing a lot of that in an undercover sort of different way. Lots to think about with this one. Hope you give it some thought. Thanks for watching, and please leave a comment if you will. I love reading them, and I try to reply to all of them. I'll see you on the next video as we continue on with our Simple Abundance journey this year, all through the year of 2020, exploring Sarah's principles: joy, harmony, beauty, order, simplicity, and gratitude. And I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.